from the News Center here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. Welcome to News Dex 45 minutes of news from Liberia and the rest of our one word. Today is Monday, October 14, 2024. This is Marka Davis presenting. This news program is powered by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. The top stories we are following tonight. At World Food Forum in Italy, President Joseph Boakai calls for immediate global actions to address the alarming rise of hunger and malnutrition, discloses Liberia's ambitious plan to drive agricultural transformation as a key player in the fight against global hunger. In the wake of mounting tensions over the same-sex marriage debate in the United Methodist Church, Bishop Samuel Choir says the church would never accept such practice, clarifying that the church is not a gay church. Following rising concerns by critics over President Boakai's frequent travels, House Speaker Fonati Kofa comes in defense of the president, says, as a fragile country with limited capital and external dependence, it is essential for the leader to engage the international community. And off the home front, UK announces sanctions against Iranian military figures and organizations following its October 1 attack on Israel, according to the BBC. The details of these developments, including the bulletin of news, voices of the newsmakers, sports, are all part of this presentation of News Dex. We're taking a short break to be back. Joining us, we'll now cross over to Edwin Batafoyan for the Bulletin of News. Good evening, Edwin.
Good evening, Maka, and good evening, everyone. President Joseph Boakai has called for immediate global actions to address what he calls the alarming rise of hunger and malnutrition. The Liberian leader said the time for endless discussion has passed and the world must act now. President Boakai stated that 1 in 5 people in Africa go to bed hungry, and world leaders cannot wait for another summit or another meeting before taking actions. The president outlined Liberia's ambitious plan to drive agricultural transformation, positioning the country as a key player in the fight against global hunger. Addressing the World Food Forum in Rome, Italy on Monday, President Boakai noted that essential to Liberia's strategy is the development of a sustainable agri-food system that will strengthen local food production, improve rural livelihood, and secure better future for all citizens. It announced the launch of Liberia Agro-Industrial Development Program, which will focus on oil palm and cocoa as key crops to drive economic growth and food security. This initiative, he explained, is aimed at cultivating 100,000 hectares of land, initially expanding to 300,000 over time to meet both local and regional demand. In another development, that's in a related news, President Boakai has declared Tuesday, October 15, as World Rural Women Day, to be observed throughout the country as a working holiday. According to a foreign ministry release, the day is in recognition of the role of women, that's role of rural women in agriculture, food production, and as active actors in human development. In observance of the day, the women of Liberia will join their counterparts in the celebration under the global theme Rural Women Cultivating Good Food for All and the national theme Empowering Rural Women Through Agriculture to Provide Nutrition for All. The President proclamation added that this year's event will be celebrated in San Nicolas City, Nema County. The proclamation is also calling on all agencies of government and international organizations concerned to join the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection to organize and execute appropriate programs befitting the day. In the wake of mounting tensions over the same-sex marriage debate in the United Methodist Church, Bishop Samuel Quarry has clarified that the church is not a gay church. Making the clarification in a press conference on Monday in Monrovia, Bishop Quarry said the church in Liberia would not adapt to such identity. According to him, they, as United Methodist Church in Liberia, uphold the definition of marriage as a serious union between one man and a woman. Bishop Quarry said the traditional marriage is rooted in the interpretation of biblical teachings, including to the cultural value that shared commitment to upholding marriage as a union between a man and a woman. He urged members of the church not to panic, stating that not honor his watch where he subscribed to any form of same-sex marriage within the United Methodist Church of Liberia. House Speaker Ponati Kufa has come in defense of President Joseph Boakai in criticism of his frequent travels. Critics of the president are raising concerns over his extensive travel, which they said are not producing tangible results. But Speaker Kufa, addressing the 2024 National Convention of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, argued that the criticisms of President Boakai and his travel does not make sense. He emphasized that as a fragile country with limited capital and a standard dependence, it is essential for the leader of Liberia to be the chief salesman of the country. According to Speaker Kufa, the president must engage in international travels to promote Liberia to international partners. He dismisses the criticism as mere politics and unrelated sportsmanship. He further noted that establishing a global presence for a new government is crucial, stating that the dividend of international partnership can be well felt beyond an annual $1 or $2 million spent on official travel, but will bring a lot more to the country. Chief Justice Shannon A. has described the low budgetary allocation to the judiciary branch of government. Justice Yule said that load allotment is impeding the workings of the judiciary, citing a 2023 provision in the Financial Management Act. The provision, according to RHCR judicial correspondent, gives the judiciary the mandate to formulate its own budget and submit it to the legislature for enactment. The Chief Justice disclosed that such an attitude by past and present governments has served a serious impediment in enhancing their work. The Chief Justice made the statement on Monday at the opening of the court for the October term at the Temple of Justice. The presiding justice in chamber at the Supreme Court has halted the invasion of the Congress for Democratic Change from its headquarters in Congo Town. Associate Justice Yamin Gbese has mandated Civil Law Court presiding judge Goda Bona Elat to stop all proceedings leading to the invasion of the CDC following a petition for a raid of Madomas filed before him by lawyers representing the party. However, Justice Gbese has cited all parties for a legal conference slated for October 18, 2024 before making future discussion on the matter. Our judicial correspondent said Madomas is a special proceeding to obtain a rate requiring the respondent to perform an official duty. Prior to CDC lawyers' petition for a raid of Madomas, the Civil Law Court presiding judge Gordon Bonan Elliott issued double raid of possessions seeking the invasion of CDC from its headquarters in Congo Town. Judge Elliott action was in connection to an opinion from the Supreme Court against the Congress of Democratic Change after the High Court reaffirmed the subordinate court verdict against the former ruling party in an action in judgment filed by Abraham Dempstott on behalf of Martha Stubblefield Bennan for her property. One of the Catholic priests in Monrovia is spending his second night at the Monrovia Central Prison for allegedly raping a 16-year-old girl from St. Catholic faith. Priest Daniel George, age 32 of the King Catholic Church on the Old Road, was arrested at the church compound on October 8, 2024 based on a complaint from the survivor mother. Police investigation, according to our CR judicial correspondent, has established that Catholic associate priest was sexually abusing the teenager from May to October 2024 on confidentiality before his arrest on October 8. But his alleged act was noticed by the survivor mother due to the frequent visit of the priest at their home until she called them at the church where he lives. He was forwarded to court on October 12, 2024 for prosecution on allegation of statutory rape, where Magistrate Ben Bako remanded him at the Monrovia Central Prison pending court trial. RCR judicial correspondent further said that the 32-year-old Catholic priest risks life imprisonment if he is convicted for statutory rape as provided by the amendment rape law. Montserrat County Senator Darius Dillon has warned President Joseph Boakai and Finance Minister Augustine Garfon to ensure that the country meets the October 31 deadline of submitting the draft 2024 national budget. Speaking on state radio on Monday, Senator Dillon said submitting the budget earlier will provide ample time for the legislature to scrutinize the instrument. According to him, when the submission of the national budget gets delayed, it will affect the functionaries of the government, including the salary payment of the civil servants. Senator Dillon, who has been hugely criticized for deviating from his message of transparency, further stated that the interests of the country must be placed first, despite being part of the team that brought the government into power. He, however, explained that in the event where the submission of the draft 2025 budget fails to meet the deadline, the Senate will make its position clear. Grand Bassa County District No. 2 Representative Clarence Banks is demanding an immediate apology from Senator Yombli Kanga Lawrence over what he terms astonishing his reputation in the county. Representative Banks said for the Senate pro tempore to openly lie against his character on the local radio show in Bassa is unfortunate and does not represent a good leader. The lawmaker's statement comes as the structure of local government within the county continued to create misunderstanding among caucus members. According to the Grand Bassa County District No. 2 representative, the action of Senator Kanga Lawrence appointing individuals in local government position against their representative proves her incompetency. Representative Banks added that Senator Yombli Kanga Lawrence is not using her power to unite the county, but rather prioritizing her personal interest. As means of encouraging her enrollment at the Cook County Technical College, several stakeholders of the county had added 104 scholarship at the college. Of the 104, according to a release, Senator Yuma Mbati awarded 55 worth $275,000. The chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the college, Professor Willie Kaba Bole, awarded 10 worth, that's 10, worth $50,000. The acting president of the college, Dr. Josephus Gray, for full scholarship, among others. Others include Grand Creek County Superintendent Antonita Nimling, 30, worth LRD 150,000, and the County Development Officer Joe Sepper, worth LRD 25,000. The release quotes the acting president of the college, Dr. Josephus Gray, as lauding the stakeholders for the donation, which he said will bring great relief to students in pursuing quality education at the Grand Creek Technical College. Dr. Gray, meanwhile, encouraged students in the county to take siege of the opportunity in acquiring technical skill. And away from Liberia, the UK has announced sanctions against Iran military figures and organizations following its 1 October attack on Israel. The list includes Adomian Mousavi, the commander of the Iranian army and member of the Iran Supreme National Security Council, and Hamid Vadi, commander of Iran Air Force. Individuals sanctioned will be subject to travel ban and access freeze, the UK Foreign Office said. The Iran's space agency, which develops technologies that have application in ballistic missiles development, will also be subject to an asset freeze. Iran launched more than 180 ballistic missiles towards Israel on October 1. The Israeli military said most of the missiles were intercepted. The only person reported to have been killed was a Palestinian man in the occupied West Bank. As well, the Lebanese Red Cross says 18 people were killed in an airstrike on a small village called Atil, up in the mountains in northern Lebanon. Videos posted on social media show large column of grey smoke rising above the village and dead and injured people lying on the ground. Antonio is known as a Marant Christian village with several churches and a resident population of about 8,000. However, there are believed to be a number of people displaced by the war in Lebanon living there. That's it for the news bulletin. It's back to you, Marka Davis.
Feature here on News Desk. Thanks to Edwin Batafoyan for bringing us the news bulletin tonight. If you're just joining us, you are listening to 45 minutes of news from Liberia and other parts of the world. One of the top stories we are following tonight, following rising concerns by critics over President Boakai's frequent travels. House Speaker Fonati Kofa comes in defense of the president, says as a fragile country with limited capital and external dependence, it is essential for the leader to engage international partners. Let's bring you our first development tonight on News Desk. President Joseph Boakai has called for immediate global actions to address what he calls the alarming rise of hunger and malnutrition. The Liberian leader said the time for endless discussions has passed and the world must act now. President Boakai stated that 1 in 5 people in Africa go to bed hungry, and world leaders cannot wait for another summit or another meeting before taking actions. The president outlined Liberia's ambitious plan to drive agricultural transformation, positioning the country as a key player in the fight against global hunger. Addressing the World Food Forum in Rome, Italy on Monday, President Boakai noted that central to Liberia's strategy is the development of a sustainable agro-food system that will strengthen local food production, improve rural livelihoods, and secure a better future for all citizens.
Practices. By equipping farmers with the right tools, knowledge, and resources, we can increase our crop yield and diversify production, ensuring farmers can feed their families and live themselves out of poverty. Liberia's agricultural sector is vital to the country's economy and accounting for 28.9% of our gross domestic product, and providing livelihood for 68% of our population. Development in food and crops for cash crop, fisheries, livestock can drive rapid growth in the next few years through sustainable practices and improved inputs. We will focus on food crops, fisheries, organic crops like palm oil and cocoa, which have positive impact on our food security and local commerce. Our vision for sustainable agriculture and food security is simple but ambitious. It requires that we purposely invest in sustainable value chains that promote agricultural productivity, reduce food costs, enhance processing capabilities, improve market access, and develop inclusive agribusiness that empower smallholder farmers.
President Joseph Boakai speaking at the opening of the World Food Forum in Rome, Italy on Monday. In the wake of mounting tensions over the same-sex marriage debate in the United Methodist Church, Bishop Samuel Kwai has clarified that the church is not a gay church. Making the clarification in a press conference on Monday in Monrovia, Bishop Kwai said the church in Liberia will not adapt to such identity. According to him, they as United Methodist Church in Liberia uphold the definition of marriage as a sacred union between one man and one woman. Bishop Samuel Kwai said the traditional marriage is rooted in the interpretation of biblical teachings, including to the culture value that shared commitment to upholding marriage as a union between a man and a woman.
The issue of same-sex marriage has been lingering on since we returned from our general conference that was held in the United States from April 23rd to May 3rd. When I returned to Liberia, but before I could come, I made a statement to all members of the church to remain calm. Then I also told them about decisions that were taken at the general conference. When I returned to the country, I had a major press statement on June the 7th. Today, it behooves me as the bishop of the United Methodist Church to address you, members of the press, people called United Methodist, Christian community, and citizens of Liberia. And I want to say here that as the United Methodist bishop, that our church, the United Methodist Church in Liberia, is not a gay church, nor will it ever adopt such an identity. We, as members of the United Methodist Church in Liberia, will firmly uphold the definition of marriage as a sacred union between one man and one woman. Nothing more and nothing less. This belief is deeply rooted in our interpretation of biblical teachings, our cultural values, and our shared commitment to upholding marriage as a union between man and a woman. Yesterday, something happened in the Garden area between some of our local churches, the New Jersey United Methodist Church and the 72nd United Methodist. And there it was rumored that I, the bishop of the United Methodist Church, was going to perform same-sex marriage. And this kind of rumor spread throughout the whole of New Jersey and to some parts of Gainesville. We also went to 72nd United Methodist. People were agitating, a lot of things happened. And that the United Methodist Church is not a gay church. The United Methodist Church will never practice any gay or ordained people who are gay.
He is the resident bishop of the United Methodist Church in Liberia, Samuel Kwai, there addressing the media following tensions at two of the branches of the church on Sunday in Montserrado County. House Speaker Fonati Kofa has come in defense of President Joseph Boakai amid criticism of his frequent travels. Critics of the president are raising concerns over his extensive travels, which they say are not producing tangible results. But Speaker Kofa, addressing the 2024 A national convention of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, or AJA, argued that the criticism of the president and his travels does not make sense. He emphasized that as a fragile country with limited capital and extended dependence, it is essential for the leader of Liberia to be the chief salesman of the country. According to Speaker Kofa, the president must engage in international travels to promote Liberia to international partners. He dismissed the criticism as mere politics unrelated to patriotism or statesmanship.
When I see criticism of the president and his we are a final country, a small president, with and a set of opinions. That begs the question. Will be the chief salesman of life? Will be the president who better so, this is what it is there always, and has something to do with this process. As all persons of the following is very common. And there is a lot of professional if you went you know a little more of the analysis of competition. And there is a relationship, I would say, that people are not
He is the Speaker of the 55th House Representative, Fanatic Kofa, there addressing the 2024 National Convention of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas in the USA. If you are just joining us, you're listening to 45 minutes of news from Liberia and other parts of the world. This news program is powered by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. The top stories we are following tonight: at World Food Forum in Italy, President Joseph Boakai called for immediate global actions to address the alarming rise of hunger and malnutrition, discloses Liberia's ambitious plan to drive agricultural transformation as a key player in the fight against global hunger. In the wake of mounting tensions over the same-sex marriage debate in the United Methodist Church, Bishop Samuel Choir says the church will never accept such practice, clarifying that the church is not a gay church. Following rising concerns by critics over President Boakai's frequent travels, House Speaker Fodikova comes in defense of the president, says as a fragile country with limited capital and external dependence, it is essential for the leader to engage international partners. And off the home front, United Kingdom announces sanctions against Iranian military figures and organizations following its October 1 attack on the state of Israel, according to the BBC. This short break will be right back. Thanks for rejoining us. We apologize we cannot bring you sports on news decks tonight. But today's development, Montserrado County Senator Darius DeLong has warned President Joseph Boakai and Finance Minister Augustine Gapwa to ensure that the country meets the October 31 deadline of submitting the draft 2025 national budget. Speaking on State Radio Monday, Senator DeLong said submitting the budget early will provide ample time for the legislature to scrutinize the instrument. According to him, when the submission of the national budget gets delayed, it will affect the functionaries of the government, including salary payment of the civil servants. Senator DeLon, who is being hugely criticized for deviating from his message of transparency, further stated that the interests of the country must be placed first, despite being part of the team that brought the current administration to power.
The budget is supposed to be submitted October 31 this year, this month, for 2025. As a member of the rescue mission, I am using this platform to call on President Barker and the Minister of Finance to make sure we meet the deadline. The reason the PFM law says that the budget should be submitted at least 60 days prior to the passage is to give sufficiency of time to the legislature to properly look at the budget. But if you delay, you postpone the time to submit the budget, and you submit it 2 weeks to the time we sort of pass the budget, 1 week to the time we sort of pass the budget, 1 month to the time we sort of pass the budget. While we're reviewing the budget, there's time for civil servants to take it. They say, oh, no budget because the lawmaker didn't pass the budget yet. Then the whole country start to harass or push us to pass it on time because you're just passing. And you're just being maturely understanding enough to know that I brought this government, I had to nurture it from the beginning for it to take footing. Does it mean that I like President Barker so much that I will kill my own future if I have any? I will go down to the will be left in legacy. You understand? But what I'm saying, I don't let President Barker so much over the country. And in order to let President Barker so much, we must hold his feet to the fire. And thankfully, as close as I am to the president, I'm not sending any pleasure. But just said on the microphone, I am calling on President Barker and the Minister of Finance to meet the deadline of October 31 this year to submit the draft budget for 2025. That is what the law says. Going forward, every instance of breach of the law, we will make it clear. We will speak to it and will state our position.
He is Macerado County Senator and Chair of the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Darius DeLonde, speaking today during an interview on state radio in Painesville. Today's founder development, Grand Bassa County District 2 Representative Clarence Banks is demanding an immediate apology from Senate Pro Tem Yomlikanga Lawrence over what he terms as tarnishing his reputation in the county. Representative Banks said for the Senate Pro Tem to openly lie about or against his character on a local radio show in Bassa is unfortunate and does not represent a good leader. The lawmaker's statement comes as the structure of local government within the county continues to create misunderstanding among caucus members. According to the Grand Bassa District 2 representative, the action of Senator Lawrence appointing individuals in local government positions against their respective representatives proves her incompetency. The Grand Bassa lawmaker added that Senator Yomlikanga Lawrence is not using her power to unite the people of Grand Bassa County, but rather prioritizing her political and self-interest.
Like I said before, she's not the queen in this country. We have a democratic form of government. We don't have a monarchic form of government. She cannot dictate to me who will be my side president in my district. She doesn't have the right to challenge my intelligence that you cannot choose this president or choose somebody else. The person I chose have worked for CDC administration. They have worked for Unity Party, the last administration. Who am I going to choose? Somebody to learn on the job. I want somebody with experience who can answer questions about my district when I ask. That's why I chose the person. Senator Lawrence have no right to dictate to me. I told her in that meeting, Unity Party was there, they didn't win. CDC was there, CDC did not win. Liberty Party was there, Liberty Party. Many other parties were there, they didn't win. I want election. Democratic process has consequences. You lose or you win. It is now monkey work and Bible draw. I will not run campaign as an independent candidate and Yomi Kanda tell me who to choose. It is a gentleman or approach on this issue. It doesn't sound like she's a leader. On the floor of the Senate for confirmation, the entire listing deviated from who I recommended for commissioner, cypress lieutenant, and so forth. When I got the listing,
few weeks ago, she contacted Rachel Wesson and said Honorable Ben sent her 3 and those 3 were confirmed. I want to tell the public she lied. This is the evidence. On the 23rd, she wrote me this text that she had learned about my destiny. I did not send her 3 She should not defend my character. She lied. I expect nothing less, nothing more from Senator Lawrence. She must call the same radio station and tell them that she lied. The only thing I have is my character.
He is Grand Bassa County District 2 Representative Clarence Banks there speaking during a news conference in Monrovia on Monday. To this latest development coming in, report from the Old Matadi area says an officer of the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency has allegedly killed a 22-year-old man identified as Dennis Smith. According to eyewitnesses, the victim, before his demise, left his home around the Junior Randa Junction and went to locate someone in Bassatown area, just a few miles from his residence, and surprisingly encounter such an attack from the LDA officer right behind the community chairman's residence that is notably or noted for the consumption of narcotic substances. With the situation on hand, a proper investigation is yet to be conducted by the Liberia National Police with an autopsy report to clear the side of the LDA officer, but eyewitnesses have been speaking to RCR News about what they saw.
That just shot for the team. Shot for the boyfriend. Jumping in the bottle. That's all was because why this was I got the game, but after I won. We got to the now, five, and it's waiting for trying. Oh, what it did out. What is quick there? Talking to begin, why begin to walk up? Begin there, Fred. Other people, so go there, sitting there, so he was very open up the people. The friend loves you, only the one was back. So we go to him like you're shouting, if you kidding a boy, you kidding a boy. I read behind, I went away back for it, or many people get over that. Down there, we waiting for the one. Think about our emotion when I people that before the people say she was my son was but every time I still in the water I'm moving food by face and go anywhere. So my I ain't getting anywhere to get me on here for the wild so I can let it out. Anywhere I'm not good.
Well, he is an eyewitness, Patrick Wilson, there speaking to our man Myean Torgbean there in the new Matadi area. However, the authorities at the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency are yet to make official comment concerning this situation. This is breaking news. We hope to bring you more details in our subsequent news program. Well, this is how we love to go home tonight on the presentation of News Dex. But before we leave you, these are the top stories we followed. At World Food Forum in Italy, President Joseph Boakai called for immediate global actions to address the alarming rise of hunger and malnutrition, discloses Liberia's ambitious plan to drive agricultural transformation as the key player in the fight against global hunger. In the wake of mounting tensions over the same-sex marriage debate in the United Methodist Church, Bishop Samuel Choir says the church will never accept such practice, clarifying that the church is not a gay church. Following rising concerns by critics over President Boakai's frequent travels, House Speaker Funati Kopa comes in defense of the president, says as a fragile country with limited capital and external dependence, it is essential for the leader to engage international partners. And of the home front, UK announces sanctions against Iranian military figures and organizations following its October 1 attack on the state of Israel, according to the BBC. Many thanks to all of our reporters and all those who helped to make this edition of News Desk a success. Thanks to affiliate radio stations across the country for relaying the news program. Edwin Batafoyan read for us the bulletin of news tonight. Cooper Sangasara controlled and coordinated the sounds. And thanks to Myean Torgbean, who is behind the camera carrying us live on Real TV, as well as our sponsors Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. My name is Maka Davis. Good night.